Have you ever wanted to share something real, but then stopped mid-thought because you knew exactly how it might be dismissed, minimized, or used against you? So you stayed quiet. Or you didn't have the awareness to put the brain brakes on and you really wanted that connection, so you shared too much, too fast, and regretted it later? If this pattern sounds familiar, this episode is for you. You're trying to get vulnerability just right, but end up closing up or opening up too much. Today, I want to give you a way to share honestly without putting yourself on the line. It's exactly what I teach to my clients so they can feel comfortable sharing just the right amount of themselves in both personal and professional settings. It makes connection real without being fake or hiding themselves. Are you ready? Let's go. Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast, the podcast for late identified autistic adults who want real relationships without fake masks. Let's talk connection, clarity, and showing up as your authentic self. Now, in this episode, I'm going to walk you through why vulnerability feels so damn dangerous for so many of us, and how to share personal truths in layers instead of all at once. And then my simple framework called We, You, Me, that lets you choose how close you get, when, and with whom. This is about intentional disclosure, not exposure. Now, if you're ADHD, autistic, ADHD, or any kind of neurodivergence, sharing hasn't historically been safe. We've been talked over because we've taken too long to process and share our thoughts. We've been corrected because we blurted out a statement that we haven't fully processed because we didn't want to be talked over. We've been criticized because we spoke about something obvious that wasn't supposed to be said out loud. You know, when you point out the problem, you become the problem. Yeah, and I felt like I just couldn't get it right. So over the years, I would hide because I learned that opening up and sharing was dangerous. But here's the confusing thing. All the experts say, vulnerability is the key to connection. It doesn't feel like it though. So then I would swing in the other direction and share everything deeply. Then I'd overwhelm people with all my feelings and ideas, and then they would run away as fast as they could. So what am I supposed to do here? Well, that's when I learned that vulnerability isn't bad. It's sharing what with the right person and when. And getting those variables aligned can feel really frustrating because I don't know who the person is. I don't know when's the right time. And I don't know what to share. And so what I want to do in this episode is help you figure out what that looks like for you. Because honestly, I haven't seen anyone present this in a way that makes sense for the literal mind, the autistic mind, who is thinking too much, too deeply, and needs something to be quantified, needs the don't share too deeply, don't share too much, don't share too quickly, too deeply, too much, too quickly. What are those things? And if I don't say anything at all, then that gets me backlash too, doesn't get the kind of connection. So what is the sweet spot? What's the middle? This is what I want to talk about today. It's the We, You, Me framework. So this framework gives you 3 different depths of disclosure. All of them are honest, all of them are real, but they carry different levels of personal risk. Let's say you love horror movies, not casually. You love them. You own the Friday the 13th special box set edition. You have a signed copy of the original Saw poster. And every time this comes up, someone eventually calls you weird, intense, or disturbing. So now you hesitate before saying anything at all. That's where We, You, Me comes in. You take whatever your special interest is or whatever you really like, and they're usually rejected for, and apply these layers. Let's talk about the first one. We. We is the distant shared observation. This is the least riskiest layer. You're not talking about yourself. You're not even expressing your own preferences. You're referencing something people in general say or notice. Here's an example. Horror movies have become more graphic over the last few decades. This creates distance. You're making an observation, but you're not placing yourself inside of it. What it does, it tests how their observation matches yours. Do they even pay attention to these kinds of topics? Are they even interested in learning? You're not revealing any emotions. You're just making a statement. Second layer, you. It's indirect proximity. This is the middle layer. Now you're closer to the topic, but it's still not about you. Here's an example. There's a creator on TikTok that shows on my For You page that does thoughtful breakdowns of recent horror movies. You're connected to the experience, but you're still not revealing how much you enjoy horror movies. What this does for you, it shows familiarity without exposure. It lets you watch how someone treats a real person in the story, and it signals that this topic matters to you without saying why. If they mock, minimize, or stereotype here, you've learned something important. Maybe you don't want to share a little much more. The third layer, the closest one, me. Personal disclosure. Now this one is the deepest layer. This is where you place yourself inside of the story. Here's an example. I'm really into horror movies and I have a huge collection of memorabilia. What this does is it carries the highest risk of dismissal or rejection, and it has the potential to hurt the most because you've been rejected here before. But it gets them closer to knowing how you really feel about what's important to you. Now, why does this matter? Exposure in layers. Well, most people think vulnerability means going straight to me so that you can reveal the deepest and most important things about you right away so you can cut through all the small talk. But don't you do it. Don't you do it. It overwhelms them with information that they weren't ready for. And it causes anxiety in you because you wondered if you shared too much, and then you second guess and feel awkward, and then you start overthinking because you worry you've overwhelmed or offended them, so you start thinking about ways to clean it up later. You can avoid all of this by simply not sharing too deeply too soon. This framework will help you do it. The we, the you, and the me. Now, one of the experiences that I've had that helped me come up with this framework was my burning desire to connect with people and make friends and just failing all over the place. But at this time, I had discovered this idea that if I think positively and I put this out there into the universe, then I will get it back. So I had to take inspired action. So one of the things that I did in this story was I had thought, I'm going to go to some event and I'm going to make at least one friend. I'm going to talk to one person. I'm going to open up to them. That was my plan. And I think positively, this is going to work. I'm going to leave with a friend. So I go to this comedy club, and during one of the breaks, I approached this person and I started talking to them because I wanted to hold myself accountable. I was practicing this positive mindset. So I set an intention to go to this event and leave with one friend. And I'll never forget this. I found a cool guy, and I had my opening questions. What brings you here? I'm looking to connect with people who like comedy, blah, blah, blah. And I start steering the conversation in the direction that's more personal because I want them to know something important about me. I wanted to be vulnerable. That's what vulnerability is. So at that time, vulnerability meant deeply transformative. So I wanted them to know something deeply transformative about me. Who am I? What are the experiences that have I had that created the person that is standing in front of them today? And the biggest experience that I had at the time was that I had transitioned from female to male. So I'm transgender. And I wanted to share that with them because I thought that's exactly what a person who is a friend would know about me. It's deep, it's important, it's perfect. But I did not want to tell them straight away, just open up right away. I thought, that might be a little too much. So I wanted to work my way towards sharing that information with them. That was my intention. That was my plan. So I started steering the conversation in a direction talking about the LGBT community and some of the events in Chicago, and I was gauging their reaction. I wanted to see, well, I'm trans, and if I talk about this community that is we, then I'm going to see how they respond to it, because if they respond negatively to that, then it's very much likely that they're going to respond negatively to me being trans, talking to them in front of his face, right? So I did that, talked about the LGBT community, some of the events, and they seemed fine with it. They were cool. And then I mentioned something specifically in the news about transgender people. It's a little closer to my identity, but I wasn't outing myself. I was just trying to gauge how they felt about them. I was considering that if they reacted negatively to this, me talking about transgender people, something in the news, then they would likely respond the same way talking to a trans person. So I think they made a remark that seems safe about never seeing a trans person. They told me to my face, they've never seen a trans person before. And I thought, sir, you are speaking to one now. Wouldn't it be amazing to share that with them? This, I thought, would be my chance to be both vulnerable and exciting, and give them an opportunity to be educated about how you just can't spot them. We're out here, right? You didn't know that you were talking to one. Surprise. Now you are. Now you know. So I did. And this guy's face blanked. He looked pale, frightened. He stopped all communication and walked away. I swear it was almost like he saw a ghost. And I'm not going to lie, that hurt. I went home and I cried. I followed the directions of being vulnerable. I did the affirmations, did the positive mindset. I was vulnerable and I got hurt. And I thought, never again. I'm never going to open up to people ever again. And maybe you felt that intense rejection too, but I'm telling you this story for a reason. It's important. I was careful about opening up to this person. I didn't just blurt out, this is who I am. This is what I want you to know about me. I worked my way to the point. I talked about we, as in the group of people, the LGBT community that I was a part of. Then I talked about something that was closer to me, which was being transgender. That's you. It's related to me, but not exactly me. And then I talked about myself. And that was way, way too much for them to handle. It was a surprise. But in this conversation, I missed the fact that they've never seen a trans person before. They said they were from a different country who didn't really understand what transgender was. I think it was outlawed or something along those lines. I missed those things. So it's not that I did the technique wrong. I missed the opportunity to stop, because revealing myself was too much. I didn't realize it until the experience happened. Until it happened, it was way too much. They weren't comfortable with it. They didn't know what to do. Maybe they thought they were progressive until they got into the space where they were actually talking to one. Maybe they thought that they knew exactly what transgender people look like, and I blew their fucking mind. It's not what you thought. I changed their whole reality in that sense, right? I'm sharing this with you again because the technique is not wrong. Being comfortable with opening up in layers, but paying attention, the other piece is paying attention to how the other person is responding. This strategy is discernment. It's choosing when and how you share based on the responses you're receiving from your observations. And here's the key rule. If you're not comfortable with rejection now, don't share at the deepest level. Start with we, move to you, and share me when you're comfortable. If you want personalized one-on-one support to learn this skill, then go to patternsofpossibility.com, click Get Coaching, have a free consultation with me. You'll walk away with one actionable step that you can apply immediately. All right, let's wrap this up. If you've heard something today that has helped you see yourself in relationships a little differently, then I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can leave a comment here, or you can reach me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you could take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe, it really helps more people find these conversations and join our growing community. And speaking of community, if you're looking for a space where you can express yourself and be met with curiosity rather than rejection as a late diagnosed autistic adult, then come visit thepatternsofpossibility.com and find your community there. Learn more about what we're doing. We're connecting with others. You can be yourself and authenticity in this space. Find other people who've had your experiences, who know what you're going through, so you don't have to do this alone. Until next time, take care of your energy and remember that connection starts when you allow yourself to be seen.